Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Monday evening, June 29, 2026. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak month of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize a progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here where the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below, let me know what the that's been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Taking a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook that just came out at 7:07 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:07 p.m. at Jamaica time. You can still see that we're watching that cold yellow off the southeast coast of the United States that still has a low chance of development within the next 7 days, 10% chance within the next 2 days, as well as a 10% chance within the next 7 days. According to the infrared, we can see that it is definitely attached to a frontal system that extends up into the northern portion of North Atlantic. Let us see if we can get the next name on the list to form out of it. We know that the next name on the list is Bertha. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see the blue line and the airflow pressure attached to it right here off the southeast coast of the US, associated with what's trying to develop into Bertha. We can also see a tropical wave extending from Colombia into northwestern Venezuela, extending up into southern portion of Hispaniola. To the north of Puerto Rico, we see the broken lines associated with a trough. And we see another tropical wave right here extending from the Lesser Antilles all the way down into eastern Venezuela. You can see a trough right here to the north of the main development region, another tropical wave right here to the west of the Cabo Verde Islands, definitely intertwined with the red line that's associated with the intertropical convergence zone that extends from northeastern South America all the way over into the west coast of Africa. And we can see the usual ridge of high pressure to the north that we know is responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region to the Caribbean. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images, let us see if we can make out all of these entities. Alright, so what did we just see on the surface map? We definitely saw the clouds associated. Well, we saw the frontal system and the airflow pressure of the southeast US coast extending up into the northern portion of North Atlantic. There's supposedly a tropical wave somewhere in here that's extending down into Colombia and northwestern Venezuela. Can't really make out the clouds across the Caribbean though, but we can definitely make them out across Colombia. We can also see the trough situated to the north of Puerto Rico, more of the cloud tops to the north of the Leeward Islands though. There's supposedly a tropical wave somewhere in here affecting eastern Venezuela. We can definitely see the clouds associated with that across the Windward Islands. There's another tropical wave somewhere in here to the west or the southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. You can definitely make out these clouds to the south though, definitely associated with the intertropical convergence zone. And there's supposedly a trough somewhere here to the north of the main development region. I think these are the clouds associated with that trough. And we can also make out the low to mid-level flow of the clouds being steered from east to west, all courtesy of the ridge of high pressure to the north. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today. That is Monday, June 29, 2026. It was stated that isolated rain could have been in the forecast of parts of northern and western Jamaica during Monday afternoon. I know that northern Jamaica, we're talking about Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anthony, Mary, Portland. Western parishes, and we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? Although no post was made in the morning, I definitely saw some clouds bring some overcast skies, if not some isolated sections of Portland, some of it spilling into sections of St. Mary, St. Anne, and some other western or northwestern parishes for sure. Some decent morning rainfall. I'm sure they're grateful for the little cool down this morning. But look at the afternoon. The afternoon definitely did what was expected, because at around the 4:45 p.m. time frame, The visible satellite images were posted not only here on our Twitter page with the Jamaica, but they were also posted on our Instagram page with the .Jamaica, on our TikTok page with the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page with the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you cannot afford to miss. So we can see the clouds are bringing somewhat of overcast skies, if not some isolated thunderstorms, especially to the northwestern parishes. So we definitely saw some clouds bring some maybe overcast skies, if not some isolated showers across inland areas of some central parishes. But it's the northwest that got on the brunt of today's thunderstorm activity. So maybe sections of southwest Trelawney into southern St. James into Hanover, especially where we have the cockpit country. That's where we saw the sparkling white dot, the sparkling yellow dust that we know represents somewhat of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. And we can see what took place even better here on the visible close-up satellite images of Jamaica before we lost sunlight. Clouds built up into the inland areas of some central parishes and sections of some western parishes, so far northern St. Elizabeth into Westmoreland, Hanover, section of St. James, southwest Trelawney. And we see those clouds as being shed out towards the northeast. So we can see that even better on the infrared right here, showing all of the cumulonimbus cloud cover that took place in the cockpit country today. The blues into the greens, yellows, oranges that were quickly tossed off towards the northeast by that upper level wind shear. And we see the sparkling white dots in there that we know represent somewhat of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes, across southwest Trelawney, southern St. James, far northern St. Elizabeth, far northeastern Westmoreland, eastern Hanover. Definitely gotten some isolated thundershower activity for sure. And if we take a look at the Jamaican Doppler radar imagery to confirm what really took place this afternoon, we can see the greens into the yellows into the oranges that represents that light moderate. Team some still heavy rainfall across some of these spots. Definitely happy that we have the Jamaican Doppler radar imagery here to confirm the rainfall that took place out west. Excuse me. And if we take a look at the live camera here from C Jamaica's YouTube channel, that showed what was taking place in the Montego Bay St. James area at 16:06 hours, that's 4:06 p.m. We can see that it was definitely sunny, nothing in the way of bad weather taking place at that time. And if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit C Jamaica on YouTube. We have these live streams all free to view for free, so subscribe today to this channel so that you don't miss out. And if we take a look at the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map does indeed paint quite the picture of where we had that rainfall today, especially across inland areas of some central parishes and sections of some western parishes for sure. And we have a few comments that came in from some of our followers about what the weather was like in their area today. We have Marlon_1 God underscore posting Clarendon cool and windy. This was posted 1 hour ago. One Ryan underscore posting a little overcast in Hanover, got some early morning rainfall. This was posted 30 minutes ago. Thanks for confirming the early morning rainfall, Ryan. And on our YouTube community platform, we have Active 4810 posting 1 hour ago, Clarendon partly cloudy. Thank you all for confirming what the weather is like in your ear for today. Alright, so let us reload the very latest still image here from the Weather News website and the latest Jamaican Doppler radar imagery. We want to see exactly what's taking place across the island right now. Alright, so the latest still image here from the Weather News website is showing 23:35 UTC, which is actually 6:35 p.m. So this just came out, 8 minutes ago, considering that it is 6:43 p.m. right now. As you can see, most of the clouds that brought us the rainfall out west today have pushed out towards the northeast. Just some serious clouds there to the north of Trelawney and St. Anne. Nothing across the island at this time, and the Jamaican Doppler radar's latest imagery is going to confirm this. This is showing 22:58 Z though, so that's showing 5:58 p.m. and as you can see at that time, nothing in the way for rainy weather across the island at all. Excuse me. And if we take a look at the live camera here from C Jamaica's YouTube channel, showing downtown Kingston, I was definitely walking this street this afternoon, and then I walked all the way up. As you can see though, nothing to have bad weather taking place, people walking about and driving about, going about their business. And I guess that should be the order of the evening into the night here in downtown Kingston. And if we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 28 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Tuesday, temperature should have down to about 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston. The temperature forecast for tomorrow though, this doesn't look good at all. The island for 18Z on Tuesday was actually 1 p.m. on Tuesday. Should be shaded in the oranges, maybe up to 2 degrees Celsius above normal. We know that normal temperatures for the month of June across Jamaica is around 89.8 degrees Fahrenheit. When that's converted from Fahrenheit to Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that's around 32.11 degrees Celsius. So given that we're going to be receiving maybe up to 2 degrees Celsius at most tomorrow, it should be anywhere from 32.11 to 34.11 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Tuesday. And we have some tips to beat the heat as usual. So if tomorrow is going to be a bit too hot for you, it states here that you're supposed to seek shade when outside. Eat fresh by eating cold foods such as salads and fruit. Rest to make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you're feeling tired. Soak, take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough the importance of keeping hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air and relative humidity map, we know that the dry air is represented by the light shades of browns into the darker shades of brown. The humidity is represented by the light shades of greens into the darker shades of greens. And as you can see across the island, we should be in some amount of dry air, so it's not going to be that humid, it's not going to feel sticky and sweaty all the time. So we have some dry air in our midst, so it could definitely be easy for us to get that daytime heating rainfall, given that we're not seeing the darkest of the darkest browns. So look out for that daytime heating rainfall. And if we take a look at the Saharan dust forecast, so we're heading into June 30, July 1, and July 2. And as you can see, what's expected, just some light shades of greens in terms of Saharan dust for the last day of June. Then as we head into July 1, maybe just a slight break. Then July 2, back into some Saharan dust in the greens, as you can see there. First of all, you know that the Saharan dust is represented by the greens, yellows, oranges, and the pinks. You can see a vigorous plume right here off the coast of Africa pushing towards the west across the main development region. We definitely have to keep a close eye on the Saharan dust plumes. As you can see, we see one strong out plume heading our way. We definitely have to see what really takes place, and we definitely have to, have our meds handy just in case we are easily affected by the Saharan dust. That can definitely cause hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some persons. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, across the Caribbean we're seeing a mixture of the light shades of blues into the darker shades of blues into the purples, and the pinks represents anywhere from 0.5 meter wave height all the way up to 2.5 meter wave height, especially to the far south of Jamaica, and that's because of the winds that are expected. Easterly winds averaging up to 25 knots, especially to the far south of Jamaica, maybe anywhere from 5 to 10 knots, maybe up to 15 knots across much of the Caribbean. And if we zoom in on Jamaica's wave forecast for tomorrow, to the north of Poland 1.1 meter wave height expected, to the south of St. Thomas 1.3, north of St. Anne's 0.9 of a meter wave height expected, to the south of Clarendon 1.2, to the north of Hanover 0.7 of a meter wave height expected, to the south of Clarendon 0.9 of a meter wave height expected. And that is because of the winds that are expected tomorrow. To the south of St. Thomas we see an easterly flow averaging 15 knots, south of St. Elizabeth an easterly flow averaging 14 knots, to the north of Hanover northeasterly wind averaging 14 knots, to the north of the St. Anne area that's a 13 knot wind from the east. And we see where that air could pile up, maybe across sections of some central and western parishes. That's where we could have some of these low-level clouds becoming mid-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds. And the upper-level winds seem to be coming in from the west, if not the west-northwest tomorrow. So that could definitely favor some of these clouds to be sheared off towards the east, if not the east-southeast. And if we take a look at the actual rainfall forecast maps now, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS, they are both valid for 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time. And what do both maps show? They show that there could definitely be some amount of rainfall affecting especially some central and western parishes, and it looks more south central and southwestern parishes than anything else. So looks like it's gonna be a day for the south coast for sure. So look out for rainfall, especially if you reside in the parishes of Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, maybe Kingside, St. Andrew getting that sort of action, maybe Southwest St. Anne, Southern Trelawney, Southern St. James. And we see that the Euro is trying to incorporate much of the north coast and the eastern end. We have to work with the consensus. If the east is going to be getting on some rainfall, it's more so across Kingston and St. Andrew. We'll see it plays out, and I don't want you to think that the rain is starting at 3. It could definitely start earlier in the afternoon, maybe 1. We'll see it actually plays out either way. If you live or work on the south coast, if you live or work in the central or western parishes, ensure that you walk with that umbrella. And if we take a look at the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps here, both maps here from the Euro, both maps here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Tuesday. You see the Euro model getting up into the greens, the yellows, that represents maybe up to 0.1 up to 0.4 of an inch of rainfall. GFS going up into the greens, the yellows, the oranges are representing from 0.1 of an inch of rainfall up to 0.4, maybe 0.5 of an inch of rainfall. We'll say it actually plays out, and whatever happens, we just have to take it because we're in the month of June. And in St. James, we usually receive 130 millimeters of rainfall this month. That's about the same as 5.1 inches of rainfall. While in St. Elizabeth, we usually receive 63 millimeters of rainfall this month. That's about the same as 2.5 inches of rainfall. And if you would like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of June or for the entire year, you can visit nomadseason.com, and that website will show that information. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go out to the next one, John 68 hours. That stands for the next 7 days. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens represents millimeters of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. Alright, so we're looking at 12th day on Wednesday, which is actually 7 a.m. on Wednesday. We actually see some greens that represent moisture across far eastern Jamaica. Then on Wednesday afternoon, we're seeing that green that represents moisture across eastern, central, and western Jamaica. What do we see on the GFS? Wednesday morning, nothing for eastern Jamaica, unlike the Euro. Wednesday afternoon, though, we see some rainfall in the greens across some northern and western parishes. What do we see on Thursday morning here on the Euro? Maybe some isolated showers across far eastern Jamaica. Thursday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. What do we see in the GFS? Thursday morning, nothing. Thursday afternoon, see a speck of green across the far west. We'll see. What do we see on Friday morning, though? On Friday morning, we're seeing some moisture to the north of us, some moisture to the south of us, some moisture across far eastern Jamaica. Now on Friday afternoon, we're seeing some rainfall across eastern, central, and western Jamaica. What do we see on the GFS? Friday morning, nothing. Friday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across some central and western parishes. What do we see on Saturday morning now? On that Saturday morning, maybe some rainfall across the far eastern end. We also see some rainfall to the north of us. Then on Saturday afternoon, we're seeing some rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. What does the GFS show? Saturday morning, nothing. Saturday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across the northwest. What do we see on Sunday morning here on the Euro? Sunday morning, maybe we're expecting some rainfall across the far eastern and just some isolated showers. Sunday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. What does the GFS show? Sunday morning, nothing. Sunday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across the northwest. We'll say it plays out, and if we take a look at the end of the 1 John 68 hours now. So this is valid for 12Z on Monday, July 6th. So that's 7 a.m. on Monday. We're seeing some actual rainfall across far eastern Jamaica here. That's on the Euro, though. What does the GFS show for the same time? Actually, we're seeing that speck of green across far eastern Jamaica. We'll say it plays out. It should be noted, by the way, we see some moisture increasing across eastern Honduras into eastern Nicaragua, Costa Rica, sections of the Windward Islands too, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, Venezuela, Guyana. And we see that it's not only the Euro model, but the GFS is showing something similar. And if we take a look at the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Monday, July 6, 2026. Now we can clearly see that the most rainfall of the next 7 days should be wherever we have the dark reds into the purples and the pinks represents anywhere from 2 to 5 inches of rainfall. We're talking about much of Grenada into Trinidad and Tobago, sections of Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, Venezuela, sections of Colombia into Panama, sections of Costa Rica into Nicaragua, eastern Honduras, sections of central to western Honduras, Belize. And we see that it is not only the GFS model here that's showing this, but the Euro model is showing something similar. As a matter of fact, GFS is trying to incorporate portions of Hispaniola, Cuba, and Florida in some of those 2 to 5 inches of rainfall totals. The Euro model isn't really that impressed with that. We'll see how it plays out. Clearly, much of the Bahamas into the Greater Antilles and the Lesser Antilles are painted in the reds, oranges, yellows, and the greens, so those areas should be getting at least an inch of rainfall over the next 7 days. And if we zoom in on Jamaica's rainfall totals for the next 7 days, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are showing what's expected in terms of all of the accumulated rainfall. from now up until Monday, July 6th. And as you can see, the most rainfall of the next 7 days according to the Euro still across far eastern Jamaica. I mean, we're seeing the entire island painted in the blues, greens, yellows. That represents anywhere from 1 millimeter up to 15 in the blues, anywhere from 15 up to 30 in the greens, anywhere from 30 up to maybe 51 here as we see in far eastern Jamaica. GFS definitely showing something completely different. GFS is believing that the most rainfall of the next 7 days should be across where we have that cockpit country area, so southern St. James, northern St. Elizabeth, southwest Trelawney, northern Manchester, eastern Westmoreland, southeastern Hanover. And we're seeing the dark blues into the greens, represents anywhere from 10 maybe up to 25 millimeters of rainfall expected. We'll see it actually plays out. Clearly there's some contrast. You're showing most of the rainfall over in the east. GFS not so much, it's more so in the west. Anything that happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted what occurs. Alright, so what's happening across the rest of the Caribbean? As stated, tropical pushing through the windward islands with some decent moisture as we speak. Trough to the north of Puerto Rico, frontal system here off the east coast of the US attached to an area of low pressure, or an area of low pressure attached to the frontal system that could develop within the next 7 days according to the Hurricane Center. If we take a look at the Doppler radar images, though, what's happening down here near Puerto Rico, just some isolated showers across far southwestern Puerto Rico, some moisture right here across eastern Dominican Republic and the waters to the northeast of there. Maybe some isolated showers in and around Dominica as usual. And if we take a look at the Barbados radar, look at where the rainfall is located. It definitely passing through the windward islands, Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago. That's where the light to moderate team some slightly heavy rainfall is located, as represented by the blues into the greens into the yellows, associated with that tropical wave. We spoke about this on the surface map. If we take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, you can see some rainfall across the Dominican Republic area. We had some decent rainfall across western Puerto Rico, south central Cuba, some rainfall sections of the Yucatan, northern Guatemala got some rainfall today. And if we take a look at where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Tuesday. And we can clearly see that there's some rainfall that's possible for sections of Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guiana, Colombia, Panama into Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras into Guatemala, Belize, the Yucatan, section of Florida, section of the Northwest Bahamas into Cuba, section of Jamaica. We can clearly see that it's not only the Euro model that's showing this, but the GFS is showing something very similar. We know that when they're in agreement like this, the chances are higher for it to actually take place. Alright, so what's happening here across the Eastern Pacific? According to the Hurricane Center, we're watching a code red now, so something that has an 80% chance of cyclone formation to the far east of Hawaii within the next 7 days, a 70% chance of cyclone formation within the next 48 hours, that's the next 2 days. If we take a look at the infrared, we can see the moisture field associated with it. A lot of deep convection here, but nothing, organized at this time. Still disorganized, but it could acquire the next name on the list, which is Douglas, within the next 7 days. We'll see it plays out. According to the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, though, the Indian Ocean has no suspect areas, but Western Pacific, we're watching two entities that could develop now. So yesterday it was a code yellow, if I'm not mistaken. Well, no, it was a code orange still, right here to the far east of the Philippines, even to the east of Guam. So a code orange, something that has a medium chance of development within the next 7 days. We'll see it plays out as it pushes westward. And now we have a brand new code yellow right here across the southern Philippine Islands. Something that could develop within the next 7 days. We'll see it actually plays out over the next 7 days. And whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.